Today we are going to learn about writing back. So, what is writing back? This was a question that was asked to me by a few of my students who were trying to know more about writing back. And when we talk about writing back, there was two books that came to my mind. These two books were, the first was Fanon's Black Skin, White Mask, and the second one was with the title The Empire Writes Back by Bill Ashcroft, Gareth Griffith, and Helen Tiffins. So we already know about these two books. We have heard more about it, but it was not first time that it was this term writes back was being used by Ashcroft and Griffith and Tiffins. So who was the first one to use this phrase writing back or writes back? So that was done by Salman Rushdie. So it was a phrase that was originally coined by Rushdie in a newspaper article published in the Times in 1982. So it's a term that has been prevalent since 1982 as a pun on the movie Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. And then it was this phrase, then it was taken by Gareth Griffith and Helen Tiffin, and it was adopted. And this concept of writing back became a powerful tool of imperial discourse. And it was about the center that was trying to dominate. It was being written against the center, and the peripheries were becoming very important. So the theory of marginalization, that that those who are at the center try to control, but those who are at the margins, their voices also need to be heard. So there were many theories. It first began in post-colonial theories, but writing back has been there in feminist theories also, in other theories of marginalization also, like in Dalit literature also. The voices of marginalized take the center stage. So writing back is also talking about the other ways in which the popular structure is demolished, and how it is and deconstructed, and how it is done through resistance. So the voice is the voice of marginalized and of resistance, and it works on the simple concept of Foucault, that is very popular, like knowledge is power. So writing back comes when you have knowledge, and when you can cohere, and when you can contradict the popular state apparatus ideologies, ideologues that have already been developed. So these ideologues can be countered only if you have knowledge of your own culture, of your own roots. So going back to your own myths, own folk tales, own idiom, own phrases, that is also done by African writers. That was done when they were writing back. And there were a series of writers who were questioning it. Like the new literatures came up, the African writers like Wole Soyinka, Chinua Achebe took the center stage. Their voices were being heard. There were black feminist authors, there were Dalit authors, there were so many authors who were just writing back against the popular monolithic kind of literature that had a standpoint which was written from the center stage of the superior, which was establishing the white supremacy or the Brahminical supremacy, as in the case of India. So the first few writers who talked about it, about this kind of white supremacy that was there in the text and the textual attitude that was there, are Rushdie, Edward Said, and Chinua Achebe. Edward Said talks about in a great detail when he is writing Orientalism. He talks about the textual attitude that is created. So anything that is written in a text, we take it to be the truth. But there are so many things that are not said in text. Texts are also biased, they are prejudiced. These were some points that was raised by Edward Said when he was writing Crisis in Orientalism. Chinua Achebe does the same when he is trying to critique Heart of Darkness, and he says that it is written from a very white man's point of view, and the black man just appears like a subject. He is not participating in the whole story. So objectifying of the black culture was there. Their idioms, their phrases, their folk tales, their narratives were not there in the white man's text. And Rushdie, like when he is talking about Salahuddin Chamcha in satanic verses, or when he is talking about mimicry, and when he is talking about hybridity, in most of his novels, even in Midnight Children, we find that there is this element. And even when he is writing Imaginary Homelands, so he is very clear that how the white supremacy has worked throughout the time. So the post-colonial writers, and they don't use the term post-colonialism because that is also a term of subjugation, because it is talking about a colonial aftermath. So they prefer the term new literatures. New literatures were a voice for the marginalized cultures, for who were silent for such a long time. So they were writing back for themselves. So how does empire write backs? First, it adopts the language, then it adapts in the language, and then they are adept in the language, and they can speak very close to the native speakers. And how it works, so first they mimic, the mimic man is there, as Naipaul says it, and there is hybridity, there is a mixing of cultures, and this man is trying to imitate, and he's trying to ape the Western man's culture. That is why I refer to Fanon's the black skin white mask. We are trying to hide behind the mask of the white, so we are trying to copy what the white people have already done. But then it creates a next level, that is of ambivalence, where you are trying to imitate, but you're also trying to counter the prejudice and the bias of the white man. And I think it is the best expressed in the speech of Caliban: you taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. So first you adopt the language, you learn the language, you learn their literature, and then when you adapt it, and then you are adept in it, then you understand that where you were subjugated, and how it was used, how knowledge was used as a mean of subversion, as a mean of subjugation. So now my benefit of it is I can curse you in your own language. So once you are able to understand the language, you can contradict in their own language. So the red plague rid you for learning me your language. So in your language, so the language that is very prevalent, in that the counter narrative is created. And in most of the third world countries today, we see that English has become a popular medium of expression, and the empire is writing back with writers like Homi K. Bhabha and Benita Perry, Gayatri Spivak. There are so many writers across the globe who are writing against this colonial subjugation, and also the aftermath of colonialization. So now for my students, there are certain questions, so you can also think about it, and you can also talk about it. So in what ways do you think one can write back? What are the means of writing back? Can you give examples of writing back? So you can jot down your own examples, you can write it down. Think about other areas where counter narrative has developed. Is it only there in post-colonial literature, or writing back is there in other forms of literature also? So you will think about it, and you can reply in the comment section.